I'd like to introduce the Chief Executive Officer of the Tour of Alberta, Dwayne Vineau.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thanks everyone for coming today. I always like this press conference because we know that we're just about ready to start, and looking for us a great 5 days of racing. I'd like to tell you a quick story. First of all, in 2014, when we were here for the first time, we were here and we had a great stage, and the local organizing committee led by Chris Witowski, who's here, and his committee, give him a hand. They did it. Yeah, sorry, I was speaking when I should have been clapping. Chris, thank you very much. And basically at that time, what happened was they put on a great event. The LOC had a great festival planned. The only problem that year was it was about 8 degrees and sideways rain. And it was one of the coldest days we've ever had with the tour. Even colder than last year, guys, on some days. And so the mayor, after that day, I said to him, whenever you want us to come back, we will come back. And so we started talking this year, and this is why we are here today. And a couple quick stories about that day. The fan support on that such cold weather was amazing, and we were talking about it early this morning, that we would see these people all in sort of indoors, and they'd hear the announcer say that the guys are coming through. They'd all rush out to the fence, they'd all watch, and they'd all rush back. And so they got through the weather their own way, watched the race. It was tremendous support, and we're just looking forward to that 30-degree weather we're going to have tomorrow. Chris has basically the same committee, a few changes. They've done an awesome job. The festival is looking great. The entertainment lineup's looking great for tomorrow. And all these lead-up events that we went to, a few of them yesterday, were tremendous. So thank you for all your dedication and support. We couldn't do it without you. I have my first speaker today is the chairman of our board, the co-chair of our current board, but the future chairman. He'll be taking over his chair next year, is Peter Verhessen. And Peter is an ex-pro cyclist himself. So Peter, I'd like to invite you to say a few words on behalf of our board. Thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody involved, all the communities and governments of all levels that have been involved and are involved. All the partners, again, of all levels, thank you very much for your support. Couldn't do it without you. Teams, all the teams and riders, teams that are coming back. First time we have a returning champion. Thank you to all of them for doing that. And all the volunteers too. Thank you for putting in all your time and effort and supporting the race. I think it's a great thing for Alberta. We have a good competition lined up this year. It's going to be a hard race, I think. People always question about the mountains. Why don't we have the mountains? But it doesn't matter. We have a very hard race planned. Racing is always fun and hard at the same time. And we're excited to bring you the 4th edition. We're moving on. This is our 4th year, so thank you to everybody for that. And it's Alberta's race. We want to bring it to the fans of Alberta and the fans around the world. It's a great showcase and bring Alberta to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. The Tour of Alberta is owned by the Alberta Peloton Association, which is a not-for-profit organization that basically cannot put this event on without partnerships. And we rely on government partners, we rely on community partners and corporate partners. But whenever we come to a community, we ask for lots of support, both financially and in-kind support. And so I'm here to officially thank the City of Lethbridge for all your support and hosting us for this first stage. And I'd like to now invite Rob Miyashiru, the acting, was it close? Okay, sorry, I've been practicing that. And the acting mayor of the City of Lethbridge, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. On behalf of Mayor Chris Spearman and Lethbridge City Council, I'd like to welcome everyone to Lethbridge and welcome the world to Lethbridge. This is a very exciting event for Lethbridge to host. Our city, I know, is going to come out in droves to support this. I also want to thank Chris and the organizing committee for, again, doing such a great job with bringing the community together and pulling the festival together, because the race is only part of it. Remember, we're bringing people into downtown Lethbridge, and we want everyone to have a good time as well and connect with the race. Rob from ATB, again, ATB stepping up and being the naming sponsor as you were for our leisure complex on the west side. Thank you very much for that, and all our other sponsors. Thank you everyone else, and very good luck to the riders and their teams. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. After the 29-degree weather tomorrow, you'll be hoping for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Acting Mayor. And I mentioned this already, and the Acting Mayor, Rob, sort of stole my thunder, but Rob Smith, will you stand up, please, and just be acknowledged? Rob Smith is the VP of Alberta South ATB. And ATB, we kid about this all the time, but when we started working with ATB, we changed our name, and we changed our name because we're presented by ATB, and we cannot do this without partners, and you're a huge partner that has stepped up, been here since the beginning, and gradually elevated to the point where helps our overall sustainability to actually run this race and bring this event to communities like Lethbridge. So thank you very much for your support. And I'm going to pass this over to Steve here in a minute just to get into what we're really here to talk about is all the cyclists, and Jeff will also talk a bit about the course. But we have some partnerships here in the room. This is a major undertaking. Overall, when it's all said and done, there's about 1,000 people that are moving around this province running this event. And some of our key partners I'd like to acknowledge are Medalist Sports, where Jeff works for Medalist Sports and he's our technical director. But Chris Ehrenholt, are you here?
Yeah.
Chris, there's Chris. Is Jimmy here? Burrell? Jim Burrell and Chris Ehrenholt are the managing partners of Medalist. Ultimately, our technical partner that runs the race for us, so thank you very much for your support. Also, Steve Brenner, which you're going to talk to right away, is with the president of King of the Mountain Sports, which gets very engaged with us on the marketing side of the business. And everybody else, from volunteers to all of our workers that could get involved. It's a huge undertaking. We're very proud of you. We're very proud of this race, so have a very good week. Steve?
Thanks, Dwayne. I'd like to turn the program over to the technical director, Jeff Corbett, who knows every inch of the roads out there, and he can talk a little bit about the nuances of each one of the stages. Jeff?
Thank you. Thanks all for coming this morning. I like sitting at a table where I'm the fat guy. A little self-conscious. I do want to start by just adding a little bit to what Dwayne said earlier in regards to our visit here in 2014. I was talking to Kelly, your volunteer coordinator here in town, and the last time we came to town, she had about 350 volunteers lined up, 380, I'm sure she'll correct me and tell me. But I was asking her, because of the weather, what her attrition rate was, thinking that with such miserable weather, a lot of people wouldn't show up. And she said she only had about 10 people not show up on that cold, rainy, miserable day. And that's a real testament to Lethbridge, because all those folks are local. They had volunteered their time, and rain or shine, hot or cold, they all came out to do what they said they were going to do. I have a feeling if that same day had happened at one of our races in the States, we might have had 50% show up. So we're a little softer, but she's got a great core of volunteers back again this year, and I'm sure tomorrow with the weather they'll all show up. Real quick, I don't want to bore you with a lot of details, but I do want to run through the 5 stages we have that make up the 2016 Tour of Alberta. Obviously, as you all know, stage 1 here in Lethbridge. This stage, we basically kind of trimmed the fat and kept the meat compared to the 2014 course. So we've kind of cut the southern portion off of what we did here before, which was just all the flat portion down to the college and back. We kept the challenging part of the circuit, which was the northern portion with the fast descent and the climb, and then we reversed course on it. So the hill has to get tackled more frequently and more often than it did in 2014, which we think is going to make for a more dynamic race. Obviously, it's a little shorter than it was in distance before, but I think that again will just make it faster and more competitive. So we're looking for a short but action-packed start to the 2016 Tour here in Lethbridge tomorrow, and it'll be a sunny one as well. Moving on from Lethbridge, Stage 2, Kananaskis to Olds. Certainly those who are familiar with the province, Kananaskis country needs no introduction. The scenery up there doesn't take a back seat to anywhere else in the province. Stunning. And we do start with a pretty fast 40-kilometer of downhill back down to Highway 1. Wind our way through scenic 1A to Cochrane, where everybody who lives in Cochrane simply calls it the Big Hill, I'm told. So we'll be doing the Big Hill in Cochrane. And then we've got some flat prairie land on our way up to Olds, but that can always be deceiving if the winds are up that afternoon, and it looks like they very well might be. After that, we'll make our first visit to two new cities, Rocky Mountain House and Drayton Valley, and there we will have our one and only, as the riders I'm sure are thankful, section of dirt road for this year's tour, and it's only Valley. Sunday, we move on to Edmonton and have a very unique stage that day where we'll be sharing the Harlack Park venue with the International Triathlon that's taking place there. So they will use the park and the roads right outside the park in the morning for some amateur races. Their pros take to the course about 11 in the morning, finish up about 3. We move into the park and we'll be going off roughly 5 o'clock for a 12-kilometer time trial. And should be an interesting day that should see a little bit of a crossover audience. We're hoping to appeal to the triathletes in the crowd, and I think they're hoping to appeal to the bike race fans in the crowd. So we're going to see how this partnership shapes up. It's something we've been talking about for 3 years now, and it's finally coming to fruition. Our final day, Monday, Stage 5 in Edmonton, is a repeat of the circuit we've done in Edmonton for the last 2 years. It's sort of becoming a fixture on the tour and sort of our signature stage, a very challenging stage in and around Edmonton, up and down to the river twice per lap, and certainly some challenging hills and descents in there. That stage, just like Lethbridge, sort of suffered from the weather in 2014, but bounced back last year with a real nice day and a real good crowd turnout, so we're hoping for that again this year. We've been calling this year on the Tour of Alberta, sort of jokingly, we've been calling it split second, because we do think, just like the race in 2014, where the winner came down to a 1 second difference between first and second, that the race has every chance to come down to that narrow of a margin of victory this year, possibly even less. So everybody is going to be fighting for every second out there, starting right here in Lethbridge. So any questions on the course, the route, host cities we're visiting? I know, you didn't come here to talk to me. You came here to talk to these guys. I get it. All right, thanks for your attention.
We're going to let Jeff cut out here. He's got another meeting to go to, so thanks for your time, Jeff. This year, the window to the world is going to be through Tour Tracker. It's an online, really integrated app that you can download. So whether you got a Droid or whether you got an iPhone, go and search for Tour of Alberta app and Tour Tracker and download it. You can follow the tour in a very unique way, and we've got the voice of the Tour Tracker, Brad Soner, one of the best in the business, and his colleague Tim Johnson here, who's a former elite racer. And so you'll hear their voices throughout the next week here. Before we get started with the Q&A, I just want to introduce Garneau as the sponsor of the jerseys this year, and we've got 5 leaders jerseys. The Best Young Rider, which is ATB Financial. You've got the neon green here, which is Ellis Don, which is for the sprint points that are long, as well as the finish line. There are points aggregated for the top overall finisher consistently throughout. The neon yellow jersey, which Block Lima won last year, which is sponsored by the Alberta province. Lexus of Edmonton is sponsoring the King of the Mountain competition. And Pomeroy Inn and Suites for the Best Canadian. And the Best Canadian last year we have here in Michael Woods. So we'll start with a question with each one of these gentlemen, and then we'll open it up to Q&A for media members. And we'll start with Block Malima, last year's champion races for Trek Factory Racing. And Block was in a really good position in the Tour de France this year. Unfortunately, had some crashes, but was super strong. Came off the Tour de France, won Classic San Sebastian, a big one-day race in Europe. And so the big question is, what kind of form are you coming into the Tour of Alberta to defend your championship?
Yeah, we will see this week. I did Olympics after the tour also, and then I took a break. So yeah, this is my first race after my break, but it's good to be back. Good memories from last year, and yeah, it's a different course this year. Last year was more climb, so yeah, we will see what it brings. But yeah, motivated of course for this week, and it's good to be back. And I think we are here with a strong team. The guys next to me, of course, and yeah, I think we hope to show ourselves.
And Block, the way the season's progressed for you, Olympics, Tour, you know, what's your program for the rest of the year, and what are your memories from last year's event overall?
After this, I go to Quebec and Montreal, and I think this is a good preparation for those races also. The World Tour races, and last year, yeah, I really liked it to do this combination. And after that, I will do some races in Italy and Lombardy, Japan. A few races left, but yeah, I think it's nice to be back here. Yeah, it's a special race for me, you know. When you win, it's always nice to come back, and yeah, I'm motivated to go.
And Block is a 2-time top 10 finisher in the Tour de France. On to Ryan Roth of Canada, who is the current individual time trial champion of Canada. He's been on a tear this year, winning several races. Ryan, can you talk about Silber, the rise of your team, what this race means to Canadian cycling, and how your team's approaching this?
Yeah, it's an important race for us. It's the biggest race in Canada that we can compete in. So it's one of our top goals of the year, and I think we have a pretty balanced, motivated team. So we'll look to do things every day.
And wearing the Canadian jersey up in Edmonton for the time trial, what's that like? You've had the road jersey, but what's it like to come into an event like this and have that on your back?
Well, I haven't done it yet, but I mean, it's still a time trial, so it kind of just hurts the same, I think. But I'll just do my best, and we have to get through the first 3 days first, and then think about that day when we get there.
On to Frank Schleck of Trek Factory Racing in Luxembourg. If you're unfamiliar with the sport, he was a podium finisher at the Tour de France. He's also won stages of the Tour de France and also another Grand Tour, the Tour of Spain. Comes with many wins over his career, and his career will be ending after this year. And I think we got one of the best in the business over the last decade here racing in Alberta. Frank, first welcome, and what's it like to look at the next month of your racing, knowing that your career is coming to an end, and then tell us about your team's approach coming into the race here in Alberta.
Yeah, first of all, hello everybody, and thank you for the nice words. Yeah, it's true. It's been a long day. It's been 15 years as a pro, so 25 years of racing, and yeah, 2 kids at home, they are costing a lot of energy, and I think it's time to give something back to them. I'm gonna miss definitely the pro business cycling, because at home there's always things to do. You have to take care of the kids, you have to do the laundry, you gotta do dishes, and once you're with the team, there's nothing to do. So I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a big change. Now I've had a great experience over the last 15 years, and yeah, coming to Alberta. I mean, I know about Canada as a big, huge country and a lovely country. I'm a guy who is a lot of outdoor freak, so I like to go out in the nature, fishing, hunting, so I'm all over that. I hear a lot about Canada, of course. Fortunately, didn't really have time to check it all out, but first time in Alberta, I'm very excited. So for my the last year or my last races I'm going to do, I'm all excited to be here. And everybody talks bad about the weather, but it's 30 degrees out there, so so we prepared very well for it. And supposedly the weather will change a little bit during the week, but yeah, we hope for the best and we expect the worst. So, thank you.
On to the top row in the center here, Chris Horner. Chris Horner is the only American to win the Tour of Spain and the oldest Grand Tour winner. And not to dwell on your age too much, but the accomplishments that this man's had later in his career and really throughout his career, but is really remarkable. He's racing for the Lupus Racing Team out of the U.S. Also a 2011 winner of the Tour of California. He's 3 times top 20 in the Tour de France. Welcome, Chris. Talk about the Lupus Racing Team, its mission, and also what it's like to just continue on a roll here in these major events.
Yeah, I think for Lupus, the main thing is just to be aggressive and try to put guys in the attacks every day. We don't come here with a big sprinter or something, and of course I'm pretty small, so I'm not here to win field sprints. Would be nice, but we're not here for that, so we're just here to be aggressive, get in the breaks, represent the team, be on TV, see if one of the breaks go the distance, and then for myself, maybe we get some stages with some crosswinds or something. I'm actually small, but I'm pretty decent at fighting for position, so maybe we get a little tactical situation where there's chances of winning some stages that way. But clearly, we're just going to, the whole team's just motivated to be aggressive every day.
Robin was stage winner at this year's Tour of Utah, won a stage last year at the USA Pro Challenge. First of all, welcome, Robin, and talk about the young Canadians and the Americans that are starting to make some waves internationally.
Thanks for the welcome. Yeah, there's a few of us out there. I don't consider myself to be too young anymore. There's some 20-year-olds that are really kicking my butt. But yeah, I think you'll see a lot of showing from some of those Axion kids and some of for them, a lot in the time trial for sure. And some of those Canadian guys will be really motivated to be aggressive and be out there every day and leaving it all out on the road and forcing people to really chase them. Yeah, for myself, it's this is a race that doesn't have any really high mountains, so it offers me a little bit more of an opportunity to go for the overall if I have a good time trial and can maybe get in one of those splits that happens on a crosswind day or make a break stick, which is usually my MO. So I'm really excited to be here, and I think we have a really fit team that's all super motivated, and whoever's smart, savvy, and strong will win this race.
On to John Murphy of the United Healthcare Pro Cycling Team in the U.S. Jeff Corbett talked about some of the sprinting stages that are going to be prominent. John is considered one of the best sprinters in the field. John, how's the team approaching it, and what's your approach, noting that there are a couple flatter stages out there?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back here in Alberta after a few years away. It looks like there's going to be a lot of sprint opportunities, and as you know, the time bonuses are going to be crucial. Our United Healthcare team has been, we come with a team ready to focus on those sprints and take every advantage we can.
And looking at the courses, not to point out stages 2 and 3 here, but you've got to have those asterisked. I'm sure the team does.
Yeah, Olds and Drayton Valley both look pretty good for a sprint, and maybe tomorrow as well. And then that TT is kind of right in my range of in between 11 and 13 Ks.
Because you're a good prologue time trialist, so you could be seeing John here in the mix also with the general classification and overall. On to Michael Rusty Woods of the Cannondale Drapac team, 10th overall last year and best Canadian in the race. A former runner who was a 4-minute miler, mind you, from Ottawa, and has converted on to pro cycling and done quite well. First of all, welcome, Michael, and talk a little bit about your team, and then what that transition was from being a almost very elite runner to be a pro cyclist.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We brought a really good team here today for the race. We got a guy, Lawson Craddock, who's been having a really good season, along with Alex House, who's been riding really well on the single days in the Ardennes this year. So it's going to be a fun race for the team. We're going to really take a dynamic and active approach in the race. And as far as my progression from running to cycling, it's been a pretty fun one. I mean, the reason why I got into cycling was because I loved being a professional athlete, and really missed when my running career ended. I worked for 3-4 years at a bank and at a running shoe store, and it sucked. So I wasn't really good at anything else but being a pro athlete. And the minute that being a professional athlete, the opportunity presented itself, I jumped at it. And being here has been really, coming back for a 4th year has been really cool. This is my 4th year doing the race. I've done it every year since it started, and it's been a really cool looking back and just seeing how it's played a real role in my progression as a rider. When I first started here, I was pack fodder and I broke my collarbone, and now I'm here at the press conference. So it's been kind of really played a big role in my career, and it was my first UCI Point 1 race. So I feel really lucky to have this race in Canada, and it providing so many opportunities for other Canadian riders.
And can you talk about the short, punchy climbs, which are prominent throughout, and obviously, with your anaerobic background, that plays a little bit into that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like anything that's in the 2 to 4 minute range, just because it plays into that mile background that I have, and that can also basically stand the whole time, which is like running. Yeah, it seems like there's some good punchers this week, especially the first stage here in Lethbridge. So hopefully I can see if I can do something on those climbs.
On to Ryder Hejdahl of Victoria, BC, and if you're not familiar with Ryder and you're Canadian, certainly his elevation and progression to help Canadian cycling elevate to the level it is. Guys like Steve Bauer a generation ago, and handing that baton off to riders like Ryder Hejdahl is a big reason why Canada has certainly progressed as a nation. Welcome, Ryder. And a little bit of Ryder's background: 2012 Tour of Italy champion. He's featured prominently in the Tour de France for a number of years, and has been certainly over the last 10 years as consistent a rider in the major tours as anybody. Ryder, you're towards the end of your career now. You'll be retiring after the end of this year. Has that dawned on you yet? First question. Second question, it probably makes this moment probably more special racing in Canada with your Trek Factory Racing team.
Yeah. First of all, hi everybody. I'm happy to be here. Exactly that, to come to the decision to call this the last season. Not an easy one. Fortunately, I've been around guys like Frank and Fabian, big riders that have been racing for over a decade, and you can kind of see the process and go through it. And once you make that decision to know you have a race like the Tour of Alberta in your home country, gives you a lot to get excited for. So I'm happy to be here, and just trying to enjoy it and not think about the end too much.
One final question before we open it up. when I talked to you a couple weeks ago, you were talking about, hey, I asked you the question, would you be the guy because it's your last year and you're Canadian? And you gave a really good answer, which was, hey, most fit guy usually comes to the front. But talk about the team you have here and then your role maybe within the team coming in.
Well, just obviously with Balky here, winning the race last year, it was a great battle with the team I was on last year and this team. So to be now teammates with him, I think that's a pretty cool place to be. We're going to do the best we can. Yeah, and the first year I did the race, we won the race with Roland Dennis, so it'd be nice to finish again like that.
Been part of 2 of the 3 winning teams for different squads. No, they were same. That's yeah.
Wasn't on the team last
It was a little bit.
Close enough.
Questions? Kyle's got a mic.
Bob, been much talk about different courses this year, no big mountains, and the importance of time bonuses in the race. How will that change the way your team approaches the race, if at all, without giving too much away again?
Yeah, of course, it's totally different. Last year we started with a team time trial, and yeah, we were in front from then on. This year it's different. Yeah, we have to see the first days. We're not here with a favorite for the sprints, but yeah, we have to be careful for breakaways, be aggressive, and I think we have several strong guys who can do also a good time trial. And I think that they will be very important for the classification.
Do you expect it to be more difficult to for riders to get into breakaways, given the importance of possible time bonuses? And
well, you never know. It's a small peloton, and yeah, tomorrow's stage is pretty hard with that short climb, 9-10 times. So it's not easy. You just have to look at it day by day, especially if it gets windy, if the weather gets bad, and yeah, we're here with a strong team, so yeah, I think we have several opportunities.
do you feel, as defending champion, do you feel like you'll be coming into the race and have to defend immediately?
No, it's not a big goal for me, this race, after my break, after Rio especially, so yeah, I'm not sure about my level, but I've been training well, and yeah, you always hope to do well. I think I did some good time trials this year, so yeah, if I don't lose time the first days, we will see what's possible there, and but yeah, it's still 5 days hard racing, so that's not easy.
As for John, have you had a chance to look at the roster? Any sprinters you're going to be keeping your eye on? Your biggest competition in the sprints?
Actually, I've not seen the start list yet. I know Eric Young and Travis McCabe. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a few others that I haven't seen yet, but we have some good competition in the sprints, and yeah, we're excited about that.
Ryder, do you know what the rest of your schedule is for the end of the season? You're doing Montreal and Quebec?
Yeah, for sure. We'll go back to Montreal. Obviously more racing in Canada. Enjoy those races very much, so that'll be also a nice period. And then also back to Europe, similar to the other guys here. Italian one-day races with Lombardia will normally be my last professional race.
Ryder, how did you come to that decision that this would be your last year?
It takes some time, you know, it kind of creeps into mind quite a few times actually when you're